special late night edition High Stakes Fantasy Network live stream. It's a RotoWire Online Championship with our special guest, Roto Gut himself, Vlad Sedler from FTNFantasy.com. Vlad, very happy to have you joining us here tonight. $250,000 grand prize on the line. Your first live draft of the year. I know you're doing some best ball stuff with us right now, but this is your first crack at a fab league, season long league. So how are you feeling tonight? Are you ready to go? You sweating it out? You nervous, or are you all set to go here?
No, I'm ready to roll. It's just been drafting it up as you know with best balls and everything. And this is actually the latest I've ever started drafting fantasy football. At this point in any previous season, I would have already had three of these online championships under my belt of these drafts. But today, no, it's my very first one, and but I'm pretty set. I've got my personal draft board. Got my projections going, my VDP, everything. So I'm ready to roll. I just know I got some tough competition here.
Yeah, you got some regulars in here. Your Dodgers are up 5-0, so you can relax a little bit. You don't have to keep your eyes on that too much. And then, so you are in the 3-hole. Tell us. You said you had a story about your KDS. Why don't you lead with that?
Yeah, I just didn't hit save. I ended up getting a phone call. I really, for whatever reason, over the years, for specific reasons, I usually like the back end of the KDS, and of course with NFFC, you've got the third round reversal going, and for the most part, I usually like my builds when I'm grabbing somebody at 9, 10, 11, and then the early second round pick, and then the early third round pick again. So I remember I actually set the order of my KDS, but I did not click save. And half an hour afterwards, check my email, and I saw I got the 3 spot, and I'm like, shoot, but it's fine, right? Pros can win from anywhere, so hopefully we can do some damage from the 3 spot. Obviously, not a bad first pick that I'm going to get there, but then of course the tiers sort of fall off in a place where it's not as nice as if you're getting somebody at the back end of the first, second, and then early third.
So did your choice order actually come up 3? So a lot of people just leave it 1 through 12. It's just standard. A lot of people just don't ever change their KDS. But did you see what your choice order actually was? I mean, would you have gotten 12th, 11th, or 10th? Or?
I don't even know. I'd have to go back and look. I don't know offhand.
All right, I detect one missing owner there, so just so you know, Vlad, I wasn't ignoring you. We have one missing owner for the draft that's going to start in about a minute, so I'll pop up the draft board here. But yeah, this will be a lot of fun again. The RotoWire Online Championship, $250,000 grand prize on the line in this great contest. We're selling out a lot of these leagues as we get really into the heart of the drafting season, starting up right now. Training camps starting up more and more around the league now. Obviously, baseball, I know you're consumed with baseball right now, but how much of the football draft prep have you started up? I mean, did you kind of start up now at this point of the season, or have you kind of gotten into it a little earlier?
Usually I'm starting in May, so not long after the real NFL draft, and usually I do a mock draft for one of the magazines, and I declined this year just because I wanted to kind of get my focus sticking to baseball, but inevitably football always pulls you back in, and so I've been at it for 3 weeks, best balling it up and really got my projections in place because once you sort of feel comfortable and you're in a good spot, a lot of things change. And wow, Bob is he's throwing us for a loop right away. So already my plan is out of the window. Oh, this is nice.
Wow, look at that. We don't see this very often. The number one pick in fantasy football goes to you at 3, so you got to be feeling pretty good about that, I would think, huh?
I honestly did not even expect it. I know that we've seen in these OCs, McCaffrey's gone number 1, Kupp has gone number 1, Justin Jefferson has got 1, but for the most part, it's Jonathan Taylor up top. And I know there are, obviously we haven't seen it in a long time where the top running back repeats a second year in a row. I think there are a lot of pluses and minuses, reasons why Jonathan Taylor could repeat. But I think everybody knows that a healthy Christian McCaffrey, even if the Panthers offensive line isn't up to snuff, I mean, he is a PPR monster and a guy that can catch 100 balls, which I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to do. It's not a bad pick, not a bad shot there by Bob Kramatola.
No, and I watch most of these 11:55 drafts throughout the year. It's kind of my thing, and I always say that they are the craziest ones. There's you know that from baseball too, Vlad. They're just they're different. They're different animals. So these are the drafts that we tend to see just different things happen. I don't know if it's the West Coast drafters or it's not all West Coast drafters. There's plenty of guys on the East Coast that are up late drafting these too. So I don't know if it's just the time or it's just something about these drafts, and maybe it's just us talking, having fun about them all the time, saying they are crazy, and it allows people to maybe make crazier picks. I don't know. It's fun though.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I did just shout out Bob's name, and I don't know if he is watching, but I did just recall that you don't actually have the names of the drafters up there. So obviously, I won't say anyone else's name, but we do have some well-known folks in here. So if you do want to identify yourself, you can do so in the chat or on Twitter.
Sure. And I just tweeted out the public draft board from the NFFC Twitter account. So if you want to see that, you'll seeing what we're showing, but you'll see it a little bit, probably a little bit clearer if you hit the public board.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, you're right, Darik. These 11:55 Eastern ones for both baseball and football tend to be a little crazier or wackier, if you will, than our 8 o'clock ones or the 10 o'clock or the afternoon ones. Maybe it is staying up later, everybody's drinking a little bit or whatever it is, or it's just the night owls. But a little crazier. There goes Saquon Barkley in the top 10. We haven't seen that in a while. So not just McCaffrey at the top, but Barkley in the top 10 is a little different. So, yeah, you're right. It's just a different feel to these late night ones. So it's not just Vlad being in it; it's a little crazier. So we'll see if that continues throughout this draft tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's the same effect as like a later NFL game, right? If you have the Sunday night NFL game and the tailgating starts at 9 in the morning, people tend to get a little more rowdy for the game. I think that might have the same type of thing going on here, but they're always fun. I love these, and I'm pretty much a night owl, so I like staying up and seeing getting these filled and watching kind of what goes on. So like you mentioned, McCaffrey goes first, Barkley moves back up, but again at the end, just moves a couple guys down a few spots. We're not seeing anything else really, crazy here. Devontae Adams slips the second round. Jones, Fournette, Williams, Mixon tend to go there. Evans can go anywhere in the second round. So nothing crazy. Just other than McCaffrey first is not crazy. I mean, we've seen it in other drafts too. So it's just, again, if you get a draft spot here, you're only getting one of these guys or two of these guys in the first and second round. So you only have one or two shots to take them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am pretty sure that Taylor has not gone outside the top 2 in an online championship draft this month. Maybe ever in our online championships, but certainly not this month. So Vlad, I mean, you can look at it as a gift. I mean, he's goes 1 or 2 in pretty much every single RotoWire draft. So I think I would look at it as a gift. I really would.
I did get a message. I got a Twitter message from Bob who did say thank you. Who said you're welcome. So yeah, all right. So we're back on the clock here. I did sort of map out this. This is an area that I don't necessarily love. It's either forcing a wide receiver that I may not necessarily want, or somebody that I think is comparable maybe in my next pick. I think obviously a couple of big PPR running backs as well. I could really throw things off with an early tight end, right? You take one of those early tight ends and it just kind of changes the complexion of your build. I'm going to go, I guess, maybe a little off the board. I don't think he's going to be available at my next pick. And for whatever reason, I'm feeling strong that he is not going to be suspended this season. So I'm going to go with
nice.
Alvin Kamara. And I know you're a fan, right? Of
yes,
as you call him, Tom, Al Kamara.
Great pick. That's a great pick. That's the perfect way to team up Jonathan Taylor with another RB1. I love that. Great pick, Vlad.
Oh, and then I just noticed they're on the same bye week. So I guess I'll deal with it.
That's week 14.
I'm not I don't even really look at that stuff. Yeah, I get it a little bit, but for these first couple of rounds, I mean, you get the guys you want, and you figure that rest of the stuff out later. There's so much stuff that's going to happen between now and week 14 that it's nuts. So I will say that Kamara has been moving back up our boards. He was going third round, late third round, as little as I don't know, a week and a half ago, and now I think a lot of people are with you, Vlad. You just hear stuff like that coming out, like, okay, well, his lawyers may do this, they don't have enough evidence to do this, whatever. And again, if he's not suspended, he's not going to. I mean, if we knew he wasn't going to be suspended, you're not going to get him where you just got him.
Yeah.
So in a tournament like this, love it.
Yeah, and I think we've seen obviously a wide range on him, but I was just looking to see, because my next pick is it's 34 overall, and there were, I guess, some drafts where he was falling to there. Yeah, he's gone in the last 2 weeks alone in these OC drafts. His max pick is 36, but I would still give it at about probably a 15% chance that he was going to fall to me there, and yeah, just because for the reason of not loving specifically any of the receivers there, it just made sense. I mean, a full season of Kamara with Taylor, and both are healthy. That's a start I'm pretty happy with.
And I will say I watched 3 drafts last night, OCs, just like this, and I believe he went in the second round in all of them.
Okay.
So again, like I said, he is starting to move back up. So the probably, unless we get different news, which could happen at any point, I suppose, but you're going to see him in the second round. It's going to be tough getting him in the third round from here on out.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a matter of if I was doing a main event right now, obviously the prime times, obviously we're not doing them now. You guys host them a little bit later, closer to the season. But if this was a prime time right now, I don't know if I would take a shot at that, right? Because it's a smaller player pool, and then just the chance of losing your second round pick for so many games may not necessarily be worth it. In the OCs, of which I will draft a few, and I might diversify a little bit, I think I'm okay with him there.
Yep, makes sense.
I like the pick a lot. I really do. I mean, anytime, you don't need another running back after getting Taylor. That's the beauty of Taylor, but you're getting a gift with an RB1 there, so you might as well load up. So I love the pick. So right now we got a couple of teams that have really loaded up at wide receiver. Team 2, obviously, team 11, teams 5 and 11, really with 3 wide receivers when you look at it, because Kelsey and Andrews are pretty much wide receivers. So they have really hammered the wide receiver position hard.
And the pick right before me, that's a gentleman who I drafted against live in main event for baseball in Las Vegas, Tim Lilly. He just took James Conner right before me, and he said we could say his name on air, but yeah. So I'm now up, and I got what I think is another gift. This might be a little bit of a magical draft for me. I did not expect this guy to go here. This is his max pick over the last 3 weeks, but this is somebody who I think has a shot to be the wide receiver 1 overall this season. I'm all in on this offense. And that guy is arguably the most talented as well. And that's A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. Stay healthy, buddy.
For sure. Yeah, I can't. It's hard to complain about your draft so far. Again, A.J. Brown's been a second round pick and plenty of times this year. Usually probably hits the third round, but like you said, if you're all in on that Eagles offense, he's the most talented player there, and it all comes down to Hurts. I think it does. If Hurts can improve upon what he did last year, that bringing in A.J. Brown just makes everybody else better, right? Devontae Smith's better, Goddard's better. It's just, if they're able to put it all together like you think, and I actually think too, I'm pretty big on the QB there as well. So you could have received a very, very nice gift there.
And you've got also the fact that the offensive line is strengthened too, and the fact that I don't necessarily think they're going to be as run heavy as they were last season. I mean, why would you be, right? You'd have to adjust a little bit when you have guys like this.
Exactly.
So yeah. Oh, I'm back up on the clock.
Yeah.
Let me see what I had planned for the 4th round.
No, you don't sign. I'll let you make your pick, Vlad, but just a comment. You don't bring in A.J. Brown and continue to run the ball as heavily as they ran the ball. You're going to make a shift offensively. There's no question about that. So I do think the Eagles are going to turn Jalen Hurts loose a little bit this year. No doubt about that.
Another interesting, before Vlad makes his pick, while he's making his pick, Travis Etienne falls to 35th overall. I'm not sure I've seen him down on 35 for a long time now.
He is dropping after rising up to about the 2-3 turn. He is really starting to drop, and nothing's changed. So I'm not sure what's happening there.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him at 35 though. I see him around 29, 30 is about the max I see him.
It's it's very odd because I really did think he was going to be a guy who was going to move into the top 20 to 25 range, and that still could happen. So I think once we start getting positive reports about him out of camp and people start seeing some video of him moving and running well, I think the ADP is going to move back up for him. But he is kind of dropping back a little bit. So I think it's curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just personal I mean, like McLaurin doesn't usually go before him. Connor doesn't even usually go before him. I don't think at this point. But
No.
Vlad, give us your take. I love your 4th round pick as well. I actually would have considered him in the 3rd round, but I guess obviously AJ Brown's there, so you like Brown a little bit better. But talk about Mike Williams, 4th round pick. He's not usually sliding there either. I don't know what his max bid is, but it's not usually close to the 4th round. He's been consistently a 3rd round guy the last month or so.
Yeah, just over the last couple weeks in online championships, an ADP of 35, a min of 28, max of 42. So kind of right there in that range. Another guy I had pegged as an option here in the 4th round if he was to fall. And it got a little difficult because there are a few guys that I like in this range. And, not to give away too much from my colleague, because Nelson Souza, who's obviously one of the long-term NFFC player, one of your highest winning guys as part of our high stakes package. But I will just kind of tease to the fact that he does not necessarily love this Chargers offense. I haven't really broken it down for him not that he doesn't love it, that there are just some guys that are to him are fades at the high prices. I still haven't racked his brain like what it is about it. And of course, I have some of my own opinions. So I do like Mike Williams. I think there's going to be a little bit of a changing of the guard with him and Keenan Allen, who's a few years older. With Mike Williams, really, it's just about staying healthy. Bigger yak guy. Averaging 15, 16 yards per catch, and maybe double-digit touchdowns again. So kind of a go big or go home pick. The only difficulty there were 2 other receivers that I was looking hard at. So when I was looking at these guys, I'm also thinking about who I might potentially pair up with quarterback, right? So it would be nice if I'm able to grab a receiver where I can get their corresponding quarterback. So that was something I was thinking about when I was picking there. But at the end of the day, and knowing I wasn't going to get Herbert, I was just good with Mike Williams there.
So the other 2 receivers you were thinking about, have they gone yet? Are you able to say that or no? Or is the one coming back to you?
Yeah, they did just both go, and 8-9 picks later, and that's Cortland Sutton and Allen Robinson. Those are the 2 guys I like. I know it's a little higher than ADP for Robinson, but man, I don't know. Maybe it's me just doubling down on last year and the disappointment from last year, and him being one of the guys I was really sure was going to have a fantastic season. I mean, he's still on the right side of 30. He's in this monster prolific offense. He's the number 2 there. I can see another, again, double-digit season of touchdowns for him, 1,200 plus yards. I think it's all in the realm of possibility. And again, if you think if something happens to Kupp, obviously, God forbid, you want him to be healthy, everything to be okay, then you're stepping up into a guy who's potentially, return top 6-7 value overall. So I'm a big fan. I like him there, but it's a tough decision, right? Between 3 guys like that. I almost feel in some regard Sutton's almost the most dangerous of the 3, only because, man, you really don't know what's going to happen there in Denver. It's a brand new offense, all these pieces, and they have 3 legitimately solid receivers plus a couple of really good running backs.
I'd argue 4. I'd argue 4 with Patrick and Hamler. I think they all have some value. Yeah.
Looking at interesting roster builds right now. Again, Team 11 is just jumping out at me. Pretty much 5 wide receivers. When you look at it, again, I view Mark Andrews essentially as a wide receiver, but 4 wide receivers and a tight end. Diggs, Adams, Andrews, Sutton, Mooney. That's a very interesting roster build. Definitely 0 running back. So very interesting roster build right now for Team 11 out of the gate.
Good player. He might be a Hall of Famer. Might be an NFC Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He drafts plenty of these, so he'll diversify. It's not like his.
Yeah, it's a diversity build for sure.
Yep.
I'm not questioning it, just pointing out it's a unique roster build.
Yep.
All right, time to start.
And I do like what Team 1 is doing. I'm not a fan of McCaffrey, but if you're drafting that stud running back, again, you don't need another running back at that point. So he is hammering away at wide receivers with Higgins, Waddle, and Brown after that. So I really do think that's the way to go if you're drafting a stud running back. Now, what Vlad did was he took the value with Kamara, which I definitely would have done as well. But if you do get a stud running back, you don't necessarily have to take one after that unless the value is too good to pass up, which I think Vlad did. I also think Team 6 did it as well with Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I think if you do that, the second guy, if you take a guy in the second round, he's got to be a pass catcher. He's got to be Fournette. He's got to be Jones. He's got to be Kamara. Otherwise, I think you're spinning your wheels when you have a guy like that. So, yeah, I don't. Again, we'll see how they all play out. There's going to be 400 of these drafts by the time we're done. So Vlad is on the clock. So he's right before him, Juju Smith-Schuster, David Montgomery, and Darren Waller. Juju, 5th round. We haven't seen that for a while. Not the Mahomes owner. So just Juju has not been going that high lately. Again, these guys kind of start out in certain spots, and then as we move from our early drafts, which actually happened in May. Actually, we had one in April before the actual NFL draft. But then you get your May drafts, and you get your June drafts, and now you get your July drafts. So these guys kind of shift around. But that's as early as we've seen Juju go for a while. Vlad takes Amari Cooper. So go ahead, Vlad. Talk about your thoughts on Cooper.
Yeah, I know you are. I almost know how you think, and I know you think that you know how I'm going to draft, and something tells me you were not expecting me. He wasn't within your realm of possibilities of who I was taking, right?
I did not think you were going to take Amari Cooper there. No, you're right.
Yeah. So, let me make another pick here, and then jump back in.
Yeah. So after he takes Cooper, Josh Jacobs, Elijah Moore, Antonio Gibson, AJ Dillon come off the board.
So Team 2 obviously hammering away at running backs after going off with two wide receivers off the board to start off with Kupp and Pittman, Etienne, Zeke, Jacobs, and Dillon. So 4 running backs in a row. The only one to really hammer away at running backs has been Team 2. Kyler for Vlad there. So yeah, walk us through Cooper and Kyler there for you, Vlad.
Yeah, I was kind of in a spot where a couple of the targets I was looking at was taken. To me, I feel Amari Cooper is a very underrated guy in this range. I think a couple of years ago, people remember the sort of boring, unsexy Stephon Diggs in this range. Broke out the number 1 overall receiver. Maybe it was the number 2. I forget. Following year, Cooper Kupp, same thing. The guy that was taken most of the time after Robert Woods in the 4th round, sometimes 5th, sort of forgotten about. Not saying here that Amari Cooper is going to be the number 1 receiver, but he is very talented. I think everyone knows that. He has a stigma about him that some people don't like, and I think they don't like the fit there necessarily with just kind of a whole new system. But he is the main guy, and I know it's a run first offense and everything, but yeah, there's just something about Amari Cooper that he's sort of my backfill there in that area. I didn't want to take a 3rd running back there. I did consider Josh Jacobs. He's another one of those unsexy guys that I think gets a bad rap. I think he's a lot better than for fantasy than people make him out to be. And then tight end, there wasn't really anything I was going after, but yeah, that's my reasoning for him.
So you took Kyler as the 4th QB. Is he your 4th QB, or is he even higher for you? Or
you know what? I have him and Lamar Jackson very close together. Very close.
I do too.
In most best balls, I've actually been doing taking Lamar before him. There's just this, I don't know, there's like this sort of outside factor. There's something about him. I don't know. It's not his juju. I mean, I don't know anything about him personally, but there's just something about I don't know, remembering him, the running to the bathroom all of a sudden in the middle of the game, or just, I don't know, just has some sort of bad luck. I know he has the capability to be, the QB1. But it's just the weapons, right? The weapons, the offense in general in Arizona is just much more solid. And also I see just an uptick in passing there too, right? I mean, you had such bad luck with the wide receivers. I think there was a 7-game stretch or something crazy like that where there were no passing or receiving touchdowns there. None of the guys were catching balls in the end zone. It was essentially just Connor running them in, or Kyler running them in. So, there got to be some positive regression in that respect. So I like both. I like both Kyler. I like Lamar.
One thing that actually Greg and I talked about this on our Sirius show on Wednesday night, and we just saw it here again. Russell Gage is going ahead of Chris Godwin more and more often now in our RotoWire drafts, and we're seeing it here. Gage off the board here, Godwin still available. So this is starting to happen more and more often now. I think people are kind of, and this really should be happening. I mean, regardless of what you feel about Russell Gage, I think Godwin's ADP had just been too high for too long. And I think we're seeing a course correction here. I think people are kind of going with Godwin. He's just been going too high.
He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player, but you're really just kind of rolling the dice here. What is it, like 40, 35, 65 that he's probably going to start the year off on the pup? I mean, it sort of makes sense, right?
Well, I think he's. I don't know what the actual. I would say it's 100%. Greg and Tom and I were talking about this on our auction live stream the other night. There's a higher than a non-zero chance he doesn't play a regular season game for them this year. Wow. I mean, we have no idea. So again, you're rolling the dice, and again, we've seen slot guys with Tom Brady put up numbers for 20 years now, 15 years now, right? So
even in the best case scenario, if Godwin comes back, let's say October, this offense has supported 3 wide receivers, and that was with Gronkowski, who's probably won't play, or at best he's not going to be there for half the season. So Russell Gage is looking really, really good in this offense. So he should be drafted ahead of Godwin right now. And here Godwin just goes off the board, at the 6-7 turn. But yeah, this course correction has been a long time in coming, and it's finally happening. But again, the value of drafting early in fantasy football is you were getting, and again, Thielen goes right before Gage. Those are the 2 guys who were going 3-4 rounds later 2 months ago. And you're not getting those values anymore. You're paying the full price now for Adam Thielen and Russell Gage. So people ask, why should you be drafting early? Those are 2 great examples as to why you should draft early. Value.
All right. Yeah, we got some snipers in this, some sharks in this draft. Just watching my queue get riddled. And then I do like being close to the end. One of the best things that work for me is if I'm, pick 2 or 3 or 10 or 11, I really use my assumptions of what the people at the end are going to do to decide on my pick. Obviously, it's a strategy as old as fantasy itself, but you can, especially if you know the players, or just assuming based on what's on the board and what they might need, you can almost wait on a pick. You're like, okay, maybe I can get this guy and this guy later. So that's a lot of what I'm doing while also trying to talk to you guys here.
For sure. So you're up in, you got 2 guys in front of you, so we'll let you kind of concentrate. Tom, I don't see anything, again, we always kind of try and look. There's nothing crazy going on here. Nobody's doing anything out of the ordinary at this point. Nobody's been super pushed. I mean, guys grab their guys, which you expect, but I don't see anything. Well, that pick right there is a little high, I think. Michael Gallup just went off the board in the middle of round 7. He's going to miss half the year. I don't necessarily know that I get that pick.
Yeah, I'm not, other than, obviously McCaffrey going first overall, but that was from a player who drafts in a lot of leagues. So I think he's just trying to get, his McCaffrey share tonight. So I totally understand what he's doing there. No, nothing overly crazy in this draft. No, I wouldn't say anything outlandish so far. I'm actually looking for some stacks. I haven't seen any real stacks here so far. Looking at quarterback wide receiver combos, haven't really seen anything so far. I don't think anybody's got any.
Never, not ever necessary. Sometimes nice, but it doesn't always matter. So Vlad, that might be. I'm not certain, but that might be the min pick on Chase.
Edmonds, not quite actually. I was looking at that. I'm always checking that. What's that?
It's got to be pretty close.
77.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
some of the running backs are flying off the board. There are a lot of guys I think that don't catch passes coming up here that and some question marks that I don't really want to get into the business of, and a lot of receivers. So for me, it was just it's worth it on a guy who I feel is going to be a big centerpiece in that offense and catch a bunch of balls. I don't know how things will work out on the touchdown end for him. We'll see, but I think he's uber talented. Chase Edmonds, we're talking about. So I'm a fan. And then I'm on the clock again here. So I actually have another tough decision.
Yes, you make a pick. Tom, I will say the good thing about Chase Edmonds is he does line up very close to Tua. So it's easier to get him the ball than maybe some of the other guys that Tua's throwing to.
I will say, and that's a nice pick there. I like that pick. I
Mm.
am I am really warming up, and I'm not. There's a reason why I took him in our auction the other night, Darik. I really am warming up to Chase Edmonds. A month or so ago, I wanted nothing to do with that backfield, because they got three guys there with Edmonds, Mostert, and Sonny Michel. But I'm warming up to Edmonds because I do think he is going to be the guy who's going to be catching all those passes of the three. I worry about Mostert because I think Mostert he's so explosive, but he also is going to get hurt at some point. And I think the goal line guy is going to be Sonny Michel. As we saw last year in Arizona, Chase Edmonds doesn't score touchdowns. When they get near the goal line, I think Sonny Michel is going to be the James Conner of Miami. But I do think Chase Edmonds could catch a ton of passes in that offense. So I'm warming up to Chase Edmonds quite a bit from a fantasy perspective. I think as an RB3, there's some nice value there. I'm warming up to him. So I
I
like
actually
that
had
pick.
I'm sorry, I actually had a plan for that range because I really thought he would be there, and that was Miles Sanders, who I absolutely love this season.
Yeah.
Another guy who maybe people could say he doesn't score many touchdowns because he didn't score any last year, but that was also some misfortune there. And
Melvin Gordon also did not score a touchdown as a rookie, too. We have to
yeah,
remember that.
That's
So
yeah.
that kind of stuff can just randomly happen, but obviously,
Yeah, that's an absolute fluke for
yeah,
Miles.
absolutely. Sure.
There's no way he goes another year without scoring a touchdown. That's just
Sure.
not going to happen.
Especially when you can break one anytime you have the ball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about the Hockenson pick. I love Hockenson, Vlad. He's actually
Yep.
I got him ahead of Kittle and Waller this year. He's my tight end 4.
Wow.
So I'm going to end up with a ton of Hockenson. I love Pitts too, and Andrews and Kelsey. I love all those guys, but Hawkinson's my number 4. Talk about that pick. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, he's up there for me as well, and I don't just felt like a good place to take it because after that, I'm thinking like Dallas Goedert. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but like I like Goddard, but I don't have Jalen Hurts, and I already have AJ Brown. Like maybe unnecessary, and then sort of the next guys that go maybe 3 rounds from now are a little bit more question marks. I kind of know the range of fantasy points per game I'm going to get from Hockenson. And just obviously it had some health issues last season, first year with Jared Goff. I really like this offense this season, and obviously think things run through through DeAndre Swift. Jared Goff is actually not as bad as I personally think is a lot of people say. He just kind of has this sort of reputation, but yeah, him and Hawk I think are going to have a nice little connection here. I think he's going to score 8+ touchdowns. I think he's going to catch 70-ish balls. And yeah, be a top 5 tight end. So I like it there. There were some receivers that I was looking at, but this is kind of a bunch that to me are all very similar and nobody that I was like, oh, if I don't get them, this is really going to hurt. So I was fine with it. I will mention, Tim Lilly did take Kadarius Toney right there where I was probably going to consider him. It's OC 250K. Kadarius Toney is like an upside type of guy. So I would have considered him there as well, but I'm happy to kind of just lock in my tight end and forget about it.
Let me ask you a question. So DeAndre Hopkins went about 8 picks or so after Hockenson. Were you considering Hopkins at all because you have Kyler, or was he just because of the 6 games you're out, or is it?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm just out. I mean, I think obviously you can get away with it in this format because you have the 10 bench spots, and maybe I'll think about that for a future draft. But for whatever reason, I just have not been drafting those guys. I mean, why start behind the 8 ball with either injured or hurt guys? Says the guy that just took Alvin Kamara. So
Nice.
No,
right,
we did a segment on offensive lines on our Sirius show the other night, and for all the talent that the Lions have at the skill positions, I mean, we can talk about Goff, but obviously they got a ton of talent at running back, wide receiver, tight end. Their offensive line is one of the best in the NFL too. Not a lot of people talk about that or know about it. Their
Mhm.
O-line is damn good. So they are just flat out loaded on offense. And really, like you said, Goff's not as bad as people think he is. He's not a great quarterback, but he's not terrible. He's just got to be decent for that team, just decent with all the weapons they have. So
And Vlad's back on the clock, so we'll make him pick. I
yeah,
love the Lions, the whole
I
entire
do
option
too.
for best ball, especially best ball.
Yeah.
When you're not
They-
having to choose when to use them. Oh my God, Chark and whenever Williams get back, and Goddard, Swift, Hawkinson, Goff, like you said, it's beautiful for best
Mhm.
ball, and they're all
they're
cheap.
gonna put the fear of God into some
That's it.
defenses this year. They are gonna be a tough out. They really are. Now
See, that's why
their defense got a lot of problems, but they are going to be a tough team to defend this year.
See,
They
that's
really
what's
are.
tough about the Vikings and Packers over. People are talking about it. Like they pretend like they're going to each beat Detroit twice. Neither one of them are going to beat Detroit twice. Detroit's going to beat both the Vikings and the Packers this year.
When I broke down the Packers schedule, I had a very tough time with the Packers winning 2 games against Detroit. I really did. That is going to be very tough for them to go up there and beat them in Detroit. Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
they are not going to be easy.
Vlad took Tyler Lockett, and he's back on the clock, so we'll let him make his selection, and then he can discuss Tyler Lockett and whoever he picks. And in between there, Chris Olave, Alan Lazard, Dallas Goedert, and Cole Kmet go. So,
all right, so that's a good pick to talk about, Vlad. You've got a stud quarterback in Kyler. Now you took another stud quarterback. Was it just too good a value with Russell, or was that the process there?
That's all it is. It's me being a little bit what's the word? A little bit not full of myself, but like thinking that I could still get some of these guys, like cheat a little bit, get some of these guys later, and still have been able to grab this good value on Wilson. I do not usually recommend this. I don't like doing this myself. But in this format, it is nice to have a couple of good like top quarterbacks. The problem is that one gets into is week to week, making the decision who you're going to start.
How do you
That'll
make
kill
it
you
every week?
Yeah, every week. It's absolutely will kill you. But and again, also using, I guess what I did was 20% of my top, my first half of my draft capital on quarterbacks is also not necessarily advisable. But to me, a guy that I think is just shouldn't be sitting there. I'd rather just take him and then see what I can grab later. And I feel comfortable with my team at this point that I was able to do something like that.
Cool. What are your thoughts on Lockett? Just give us a brief, 20 seconds on Lockett.
I think that anyone in Seattle is just completely undervalued, specifically Lockett, because of losing Russell Wilson and people thinking that either Geno or Drew Lock aren't going to be able to get the job done. I mean, guess who these guys are going to be looking at all the time? It's going to be Lockett and Metcalf. And obviously you're talking about a big price difference there. Metcalf in the 40s, 50s, and Lockett I'm getting at 110. So to me, it's just a kind of a no-brainer for a guy in a PPR format.
Perfect.
Yeah, it might be Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball to him in a few weeks. You never know.
That seems like a tough trade for the Niners to make. Actually,
Yeah.
It seems individual. Not that it can't happen. Not that it certainly couldn't happen, but
yeah. And on the Russell Wilson, it is weird. Like I know it's almost in a lot of ways, process wise, it's just not necessarily the right pick. The fact that you're thinking that in the OCs, all of the quarterbacks are pushed back, right? Like so, I can grab somebody who might be comparable, say in the 18th round, right? Like somebody like Wentz or Goff. They're not quite comparable. There'll be like a 5 points per game difference on them, but it's not like a typical strategy. But for this one, it just, figured something I'd give a shot with.
And we do have one very, very, very successful OC player who does this a lot and usually comes out of the draft with 3 quarterbacks. And it works out fine for him because we pay him out some nice cash at the end of every year based on his OCs. So not that it can't work for sure.
Oh, that's James Cook. Good. I thought for a second somebody took Jared Cook in the 11th.
That's pretty far down for James Cook to have gone. He usually is in the a lot of times in the 8th and 9th rounds in these.
And Team 11 that had hammered away at wide receivers early, waited on QBs. The last one to take a QB takes Derek Carr in round 10.
With Devontae Adams in tow.
Yeah.
Since he's been picked, can I ask you guys your thoughts on Cordero Patterson for this season?
No way he duplicates what he does last year. I think they're going to use him maybe much like they did last year, but just kind of wherever they need to use him. I think with drafting Algier and then signing Damian Williams, I think that they just can use Cordell however they need to. I think the touchdowns obviously regress. I think he'll be okay, but I don't think I could use him as a running back. Certainly not as a running back 1 or 2. Feels like a flex guy with the right team, but I'm not going to make any special effort to grab Cordero this year.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on him too. I think there's big regression coming. Flex guy, spot starter in fantasy.
Yeah.
And really, other than Pitts, I just don't have much interest in that offense, barring a quarterback trade.
Yeah, the London kid's going to be fantastic at some point.
I like him a lot. I just hate their quarterback situation. Love the talent. Love Drake London.
All right, I'm gonna get a pairing here, my first pairing, and for the record, for anyone listening, I know I'm old school. It's annoying, but 2 players on the same team to me is not a stack. A quarterback and a receiver is not a stack. That's a pairing. You add a receiver or a tight end from the same team, now you got yourself a stack. But I'm just getting myself a pairing here with Russell Wilson. I'm going to grab some Timmy Patrick.
There you go. Nice. I actually asked that question. I think it was even on our last one. I said, I forget what those guys call a 2-person. I know it's not a stack, but so nice. Thanks.
And someone did bring up the pancake argument. That's like, if you order like 2 pancakes, it's considered still a stack, but I don't think anyone, do they come out in 2? I guess if they're the really large ones, right?
I feel like I would get.
I don't think. No,
I feel like you get gypped a pancake there if you're only getting 2, right?
Yeah,
a stack is at least 3, sometimes 4. And
I was going to say, can you even order 2 pancakes? You got to order at least 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my argument stands.
Very valid. Very valid. Nice job.
Short stack, says Anthony Gialdi.
All right, now I want pancakes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony.
Back to you, Vlad. Magic in round 12.
Nice pick with Jalen Tolbert. I like that pick. Cowboys need all kinds of help at wide receiver right now. That's for sure.
Yep.
This is weird. I'm just going to take my boy here. I'm going to take Kenny Golladay, another all-in from last year's misery. I don't know. He's another one of those guys, like kind of like weird juju. It's like now that he came to New York and bright lights, big city, just something. I don't know. It may end up being a really bad contract, but he's still young. He's really talented. I don't know what's wrong with Kenny Golladay. Can he get it going?
Honestly, I watched everything that's happened with the Giants the last year or 2. New coaching staff at Dayball. Couldn't have been a better situation for Tony, for Barkley, for Golladay. So I'm watching everything in the last 2 years, and I'm excited to see what the Giants can do this. I'm even in on Daniel Jones at certain points. So yeah. I just want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, Jones is one of my my QB2 late QB2 options. I'm totally fine with, especially the fact that you're getting some rushing points.
Yep.
Very smart of Bob at the 1 pick. He took McCaffrey 1 overall, as we recall, and he made sure to back it up with Dante Foreman early. So very smart move.
I grabbed him in our auction league the other night.
I like Foreman.
I grab McCaffrey. I grab McCaffrey. I'd rather have McCaffrey.
I'd rather have McCaffrey too, but there's about 100% chance McCaffrey gets hurt, so Foreman's going to have some value.
I don't think it's 100.
I 100% chance.
I don't think so.
It's 100% chance.
Okay.
We're saving these on YouTube, so we can call this back up later. It's 100% chance. He's absolutely getting hurt. And I'd much rather have Foreman than Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a question at this point. There's
But we kind of missed out the Khalil Herbert pick around earlier. That's a very nice pick as well. Speaking of guys, backup running backs later, Khalil Herbert looked so good last year when he was starting for Montgomery,
and had to play against the Packers and the Bucks, right? If I'm not mistaken, were his 2 games. So not exactly the easiest defenses to go against.
He tore the Packers up. I mean, he really did. He had he scored 1 touchdown. He had another one called back on a really bad holding penalty. So he should have had 2 touchdowns against him. And he looked really good. He's a very good running back.
Tom,
he might have a little standalone value because, I mean, you can tell looking at their wide receiver, they're going to run the ball a lot. So he may actually get some carries even with Montgomery healthy.
Yeah, and then if Montgomery gets hurt, you get yourself a blast there. Yeah. I want to ask you, Tom, as a former beat writer for the Green Bay Packers, I want to know your thought on. I have this the gut feelings don't always work out on things, but there's something about this guy, and just I'm not like Mr. Tape Watcher, but I did watch a lot of tape for whatever reason on Christian Watson. I'm somewhat enamored with him, and I know most people think that this first season, especially Rodgers, not liking the young guys, but I don't know, man. There's something about him that I like. Is my gut off on this one, or do you like him?
No, I like him a lot. I'm not sure what we'll see as a rookie. I worry about. I mean, I worry about Rodgers being acclimated with rookie receivers. I do think they will try to work some packages in for him, but I mean, the thing is, Rodgers wants productivity right away. So, who are the guys that he's going to trust right away? It's going to be Watkins, Lazard, and Cobb. So those are going to be his guys out of the gates. Now, can Watson develop any trust with him? We'll see in camp, and that's what camp's going to be about. So they're going to work some packages for him, and if he can build some trust over time, that'll help. But I'm not sure how much we see as a rookie from him. But he's got tremendous deep speed. He's got the ability to make some plays. I do like him a lot. I just don't know what we'll see from him as a rookie. But in 2 or 3 years, he could be damn good. The problem is, where will Aaron Rodgers be in 2 to 3 years? So,
Vlad, let me add to that. When we were in Vegas for baseball drafts, we were in the pool, and I was actually telling Tom, Greg, and Brady Tinker that this was right after Tyreek Hill went to Miami, and I was talking about Christian Watson being the perfect replacement because I've been a Mahomes guy forever, right? So I was talking about Christian Watson being the perfect replacement for Tyreek Hill. So I like the guy. I mean, I understand he played at North Dakota State. But sometimes you just watch a guy and he's a football player. That's what I look at him as. And I think Rodgers is going to make use of him pretty quickly because he's going to realize he's the most explosive option they have at wide receiver, and it's not close.
Yeah, there's something. I'm sure most people aren't comping into this, but because he's kind of a tall guy, big guy, there's something like he can build into that Mike Evans frame, right? I know he's like just 210 pounds for his 6'5", or last I saw. Mike Evans, obviously a bigger guy, maybe he's like 230, 240, but he can, I don't know if that'll help him or not, but just seems like a big target in the end zone. And just seeing him, obviously it's different competition there. This is the big leagues here, but yeah, there's something about him that I wouldn't surprise him being okay. The problem is the price, right? If he's going, I'm seeing him going top 100, and people are basing that off of just, hey, somebody new. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's been doing this for such a long time. That's the hard part I have with it. I wish he was discounted in like a reasonable range, like a 150 overall, something like that.
You watch some of that tape. You watch some of that tape, and he was literally like Randy Mossing people. Like Moss used to do at Marshall, right, where the competition just had no chance. There was some of the tape. You just like, what in the world is going on with this guy? So I'm very excited to see, even though that he's on the Packers. I'm still excited to see it.
No, I like the pick. I think he's a very talented guy, but I don't know what we see from him as a rookie. I mean, Rodgers is not the most patient guy when it comes to rookie receivers.
Yeah, and it takes it takes rookies a while sometimes. I mean, we saw it with Jefferson, obviously, right? Took him a few weeks to get going, and then boom. So I'm not saying he's going to be Justin Jefferson by any stretch of the imagination, but it might take a little while. But at some point, they're going to realize he's the most explosive option they have at wide receiver. So I think they'll make it work. Vlad, you went Marlon Mack and Raheem Mostert. Nice adds to your roster. Just give us a brief. To me, it's very obvious why you took both of them, but just give us a brief synopsis.
Darik, was that you who jinxed the Dodgers? It's 5-5 now.
Sorry, buddy.
I think it's Longoria hit like 2 bombs. Yeah, these are a couple of targets that I like in this range. I think Marlon Mack, it just makes sense as the guy that just starts out in the beginning of the year for this team. I don't love the offensive line for Houston, but I think he's still young. He's dealt with some injuries, but you remember what was like a sophomore year. Just had a sophomore year in the pros. Had a monster season. I think he's underutilized in the pass game in Indy. I think he can work that way here. I don't know if Damian Pierce is going to be ready, and I really like Marlon Mack. Raheem Mostert is just, again, me going in on guys that I feel, I don't say owe me, right? Because that's not how you play fantasy. Nobody owes you anything, but just a guy that I really love. And it was like when, like in baseball, nobody was what was it? I had to have Carlos Correa and Aaron Judge every year, 2 years or last year. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're not going to stay healthy. One of these years they do. And a healthy Raheem Mostert is legit. He's a beast. He's an absolute monster. It would just, if he's healthy and plays, there literally is no reason for Sonny Michel on this team. Like, he'd just be like on the bench or cut or whatever. Right. But a healthy Mostert, I know he's motivated. I know last year was such a big blow for them. He's explosive, one of the fastest, if not fastest, back in the league. I love him. Him and Edmonds, like thunder and lightning. It would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that at all. I still think there's no reason for Sonny Michel at all. He's just a plotter. He's an NFL guy, but blah.
He looked very good last year with the Rams. I mean, I was never impressed with him in New England, but he was very impressive with the Rams.
I don't know what impressive is right. He did his job, but
I was impressed.
Yeah, he doesn't. You don't watch Sonny Michel and go, "Wow, I wish that guy was on my team."
I was impressed, and I've never been a fan with him, but I was impressed. I thought he did a very good job with the Rams. And again, I've never been a fan with him with New England. So
I feel like he was on some of your winning teams last year, right, Tom? Helped you win championships.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was a great fantasy guy down in December. He was money, literally. I mean, he was putting up huge numbers. He was a big reason why the Rams took over down the stretch. I mean, he was a catalyst for him and Kupp.
Yeah, I just don't feel like it was actually Sonny Michel. I think anybody in that a healthy Darrell Henderson or a healthy, even Cam Akers would have done as well or better.
Well, he's not as good as Cam Akers. Cam Akers is damn good.
Yeah. I'm on the Akers train. Like all these, I like these guys that they all have injury issues, man. But it's just like you hope to hit on one of them because that top 5 RB season is all within the realm of possibilities, and it's obviously a bigger possibility with a guy like Akers than it is with Mostert, but nevertheless, you're talking about completely different price points there.
Right, maybe.
I remember Mostert against Packers a couple of years ago. That'll be a game that I won't forget anytime soon. Nice pick with D'Ernest Johnson because obviously the Browns are going to do something in that backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to think that. Yeah, I mean.
And whatever they do, D'Ernest Johnson comes away with value. So either he gets traded or Kareem Hunt gets traded. So D'Ernest Johnson comes away with value. So I like that pick.
Unless he goes to the Dolphins.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah.
2 defenses down so far. No kickers yet. We're middle around 50. 3 defenses now.
There's
San Francisco, Tampa.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping this one up in a couple of rounds. Let Vlad finish it up, and this draft's moving along pretty good pace tonight.
Yeah, this is great. We're almost done, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to get you on for a cut line, being that FTN is our official sponsor for the cut line championship this year, as well as the Best Ball 10s overall championship with the $10,000 grand prize is also sponsored by you guys at FTN. So we'll have to have you on for a cut line, probably another OC. We'll get Maddie on, we'll get Nelson on again, and so we'll just keep having you guys on. It's fun to talk to you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get in as many. I'm gonna have like a little cut line period where I'm gonna be trying to kind of set my schedule so I could just draft a bunch, because I don't know, it just kind of it sucks when you just only have like a couple of them, and then if things don't hit right with health and everything, like you want to have a few in, so to speak, in the chamber now. Like, what's the proper like terminology now these days? Like, I know you're not into all that, but like, what would we say now that would be more PC instead of like in the chamber? What's it more like, not having to do with guns?
I don't know.
I'm trying to get creative with my.
Yeah, I don't know. I say in tow a lot, but that means you've already have it. So I don't know if that's the right terminology, right?
Yeah.
That means you've already acquired it or already have it, or I don't know.
Yeah. About to tow.
I haven't heard that. You might be able to pen that one.
Toe up.
Yeah, you're stumping me. I don't know. It's too late at night for me to think this clearly.
Yeah, thank you guys for. I know it's Central Time, so I appreciate you guys being on late to host this.
Well, one of us is actually having to watch it, regardless. So, as a monitor.
Crap, I'm on the clock.
Yep, sorry.
Not a problem.
Oh man, these guys all. Wait.
You take all your players, emptying your.
Oh no, I already got. Okay, I guess I must have had a.
Yeah,
I must have had a brain fart because I took my defense. Okay, let's see here.
Yep, now we're starting to see some defenses flying off the board here.
See the first couple of kickers come off soon too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna grab my insurance for Kamara.
There you go.
There you go.
Very nicely done.
So now I'm looking at. I have 3 bench spots to fill and a kicker. Kicker, I'm fine with the last pick. I think it's actually the team kicker we're using now. Second year.
Yeah.
NFFC is using
third year actually.
Third year. It's third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third year. We started it with the COVID year, then we made it a permanent decision last year.
Yep.
Yeah, there's strategy in this too. Not necessarily as much so in the draft, but in season, it's very important. You definitely can squeeze out extra points if you're playing it right and you're streaming, avoiding.
Sure. And one thing I pointed out on Tuesday night, and we were kind of all being loud and laughing when I was actually talking about it, so I'm not sure how well it actually came through. But if you like Young Huku, he's one of my favorite kickers for the Falcons. He has a week 14 bye, meaning in the NFFC, we stop our fab of week 14. So if you literally had Young Huku, you would have to have another kicker for week 14, but you would not be able to. You'd have to go into the playoffs weeks 15, 16, 17 with 2 kickers at that point, because you are not able to drop anyone come week 15. So I think is there 4 teams with week 14 buys or 2? I think there's 4 teams with 14 buys. So that's just something to think about. And to me, it only affected Young Huku because he was the only kicker I would have taken off those 4 teams. But just something to look at. So like you were saying, Vlad, there comes a strategy with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. In week 14, you got Atlanta, the Bears, Green Bay, Indy, and New Orleans and Washington.
Wow,
6 that's a lot of teams.
Right? Yeah, 6 teams. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I think we'll wrap things up now. We'll let Vlad finish the draft up, and we'll call it a night. We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Vlad, want to thank you for taking part as well. You got anything you want to promote on the site before we let you finish the draft up tonight?
Pimp it out. Everyone listening knows who you are and where you are, but just in case there's 1 or 2 stragglers that don't, let them know where you're at and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, if you're on board and you're watching this, that means you're hopefully a subscriber at ftnfantasy.com. If not, you should be, because we have the number 1 ranker, Jeff Ratcliffe, on the team. But just a bunch of studly people and the best data out there. We've got our own charters, got our own, just incredible stuff. So ftnfantasy.com, and then FTN Daily for the DFS. The DFS is going to be, we're building quite a team over there. We're going to win a lot of money this year, a lot of strategy, and not just like giving you picks, but like teaching you how to be a sustainable, really good player. So check us out, FTN Fantasy, FTN Daily, and then FTN Bets as well. If you got the betting itch. So thank you guys so much for. Oops, sorry.
Rumor has it you brought my hockey guy in. Did you not?
Kenneth?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been with us for a month. He's doing baseball stuff.
Yeah.
He's doing esports. He loves that esports
stuff.
So.
I'm a hockey guy, you know that. So he's one of my favorite hockey guys to follow.
Yeah, he's great. So he'll be part of that hockey coverage for the new season.
Definitely. Beautiful.
All right. Great stuff. Vlad, thanks again for joining us tonight. Best of luck certainly in this league, and finish strong. And again, thanks everybody for joining us this evening. We'll be doing plenty more of these drafts as we go along with Vlad and more folks from FTN. And of course, we got plenty of great content on the YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button and join us for more drafts and interviews. I know Greg was doing an interview with Mike Santos that'll be on the channel shortly. So check that out. Again, thank you all for joining us.